I've been living in Japan on a very small salary for 2 years now, and I'm not just surviving, I'm actually a lot happier. But it isn't for everyone, and I'm going to tell you what I gave up. I'll also go through the Japanese kakeibo system that I use to save money. One of the biggest worries I had when I first moved to Japan was how on earth was I going to afford to live here on such a low salary? Coming from a teacher's wage in Australia, the salary that was offered to me in Japan is about 1/4 of what I was used to receiving. Granted, the cost of living here in Japan is definitely a lot lower than Australia. It's still a really tight wage to try and live off. If you're new to the channel, my name is Cheney and I'm an Australian working here as an English teacher in an eikaiwa, and I was a Japanese high school teacher in Australia. On average, I earn 17,3564 yen per month. All of my expenses are exactly the same as the video I created last year, except my health insurance has gone up. It has been a challenge, and I've had to be really mindful about how I live and spend my money. I also wanted to mention that I do a little bit of YouTube on the side, if you haven't noticed. It's something I started as really a creative outlet on my weekends. I was a little bit lonely, and it was really nice to be able to talk to people in the YouTube community and just share my story of how I got out of a rut by moving from Australia to Japan. The income from YouTube is very much a fluctuating thing. I also made the decision that I was going to reinvest back into the YouTube channel, and that meant doing up my studio, getting a better microphone, buying external hard drives, and just things to help the channel move along and get better quality videos. Another way that I've been generating a small amount of income is using my skills as a Japanese teacher to teach Japanese via a multimodal course. And I really wanted to make this course affordable so that lots of people could access it. And that starts from as little as $10. Of course, you can check it out on my website at www.cheneyjapan.com. So it's the weekend and I'm popping into a local nursery to check out what's going on in their garden, and then I'm going to go to the farmer's market to buy my weekly groceries. Back in Australia, I was really focused on my career and climbing the ladder, and I managed to get up to a middle leadership position. But one thing I found with more responsibility came longer working hours. Although there was a higher income, you're really just trading your time for money. The more tired I became, the more money I had to spend to keep my life on track. I was getting up really early, I was driving straight to the coffee shop, getting takeaway coffees, eating more convenience foods because I didn't have time to cook a proper meal. And this vicious cycle just kept going on and on, where I was earning more, but I was definitely spending a lot more. I guess when I look back now, I used to measure success by what I could afford. But now things have definitely changed, and I'm now measuring it by how peaceful my days feel. At my stage in life, I just craved the simpler things. The simple things like just growing your own food from seed, or having enough time in your day to actually plan out and cook yourself a healthy meal. These are the type of things I really enjoy doing, and I was missing out on them day after day with my long work hours. So the nursery I just visited is called Gardeners Japan in Kainan, Wakayama. So now I'm headed to the farmer's market. I'm going to turn my camping fridge on because I've got the solar panel on the roof and I've generated plenty of power, so I may as well use it. And I'm going to buy some fresh fruit and vegetables and then put them back in the fridge for the drive home. I'm only about 35 minutes away from home, but it's definitely worth the drive because the fruit and vegetables are always so much fresher when they come directly from the farmers. Not to mention, it's all of the produce that's in season now, and it's definitely a lot cheaper than going to the supermarket. I have noticed since living here that a lot of people will cook with seasonal vegetables. So there are a lot of dishes that are promoted or advertised to do with whatever the vegetable is that's in season at the time. I do like this farmer's market because a lot of the produce here is actually grown right here in Wakayama, even these flowers. Of course, they have lots of other knickknacks as well, and sometimes there's little pop-up stands where people have brought in their homemade goods. Wakayama is known for its mikan, which is mandarin, so I always try and get my hands on some of the mandarin juice, and it's so affordable here, a lot more expensive in other shops. I couldn't help myself. I had to get some of the flowers. They're 210 yen. What a bargain. Now, this is my entire fruit and vegetables for the week. I will not have to buy any more, and they're super fresh, and given they're straight from the farm, they will last the whole week. And later on today, I'm going to go and pick up some meat to go with the vegetables. One of the biggest areas that I've actually had success in saving money is cooking all of my own meals at home. And just by doing a little bit of extra planning and getting whatever fruit and vegetables are in season, I'm actually saving a lot of money on my grocery bill. Coming to the farmer's market like I'm doing today, I've turned it into a bit of an adventure. Because the farmer's market is, around 35 minutes drive from my house, when I get in that car, I just feel like I'm on the road and I'm going for a trip. So just changing my mindset, like a simple shopping trip is more like an adventure. It really makes me find happiness in just going shopping. And I do remember when I was in Australia, going grocery shopping was such a horrible chore. I actually loathed it. But it's so different now. Like, it's a total change that when I go shopping, I just feel this happy to be able to buy all of this fresh fruit produce and not break the bank. I mean, 2,500 yen for that huge fridge full of fresh fruit and veggies. It's made me feel like I'm living the rich life. When I was in Australia, I worked for a really good school with some really great people, and it was a really hard decision to give up everything that I had there. Giving up my career at that stage would certainly mean putting a hold on my progress. And I knew that if things didn't work out in Japan, when I went back to Australia, would I be just able to pick up the pieces where I left off and go back to my old life? There was so much fear around what I might lose by giving up the life that I had in Australia. If I could go back in time, I would tell myself that everything is going to be okay. I've since learnt that I don't need much to feel fulfilled. I just need enough to eat well, to sleep peacefully, and to feel safe. Enough to see beauty around me, to keep learning, and to do work that feels really meaningful. One of the things that has been so meaningful for me has been making this YouTube channel and getting to know the community who have swung by the way. And you know what? It's someone in this community gave me this awesome suggestion to make these beans and get them in bottles and hang them on my catio so that when summer comes, I've got all of the shade from the green bean leaves. And this is one of the things I absolutely love about this community. I mean, I don't know everything. I don't know much, actually. And I find that a lot of people give me suggestions and ideas, and I want to let you know I take all of those on board because I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything, and you guys have some awesome advice and tips for me. So I'm forever grateful for the things that you suggest, and this today is one of them. One of the things I never used to do much in Australia was spend a lot of time at home. And now that I'm on a tighter budget, I do spend a lot of time on the weekend in the house just with Millie in the garden. A few people have suggested that I get another cat to be a friend for Millie, but actually Millie is quite the handful and I always seem to have half an eye on what she's up to. It might be an option for the future, but for now, we're happy just the two of us. Now, I also don't want to paint a picture that everything is rosy because it's not, and it's not always easy living on a tight budget. There are times, especially when I got my first residence tax bill and I got my house tax bill and I got my car tax bill. Everything seemed to come in at once, and because it was my first year in Japan, it was actually my first year receiving all of the different tax bills that you get. So that was a bit tight, and my fridge broke down, as you know, and it was just lucky that I had savings on hand that I was able to get the new fridge. So there are definitely days where I wish I could afford more. But what I'm saying is that most days I'm very grateful for what this lifestyle has taught me. Living on a low income in Japan has taught me how to stretch every yen and still enjoy life. Some of the things that I do as well are shopping secondhand, especially for clothes, because Japan has some amazing thrift stores. I've learned to embrace the 100 yen stores, and they're not just for cheap trinkets, they got some good stuff. I take advantage of any points cards and reward systems. I try and ride my bike or walk if I can rather than take the car out. And in winter, I try to rug up rather than use the AC. So one of the things that I'm definitely working on this year is not just the garden, but also trying to focus on my overall personal health. So eating a lot more fresh fruit and vegetables and getting out and doing more exercise. So I'm making an excuse to go down to the 100 yen shop. I don't actually need to go, but I'm making an excuse to get out on the bike, and I need a destination. Otherwise, I'm just not going to do it. So when I was at that nursery, I saw those really cute objects that were in their gardens, and they were very, very expensive designer objects. So I thought, I'm just going to go for a bike ride and go to Seria and see what's at the 100 yen shop. In my city of Wakayama, you don't have to wear a helmet, although it is strongly encouraged. So I recently bought this hat helmet online, and it looks like just a regular hat. It's really good, but it actually has the safety helmet inside it. Nothing gets stolen here, so I can just leave it in the basket of my bike. Now, a lot of people pay for expensive monthly gym memberships, and that's just not in my budget. So riding a bike outside is probably the better option for me. And if it means I've got to buy something for 100 yen to get me out on the bike, then it's definitely money well spent. Depending on my working hours, I often sometimes walk to work as well. So let's get into the kitchen, and I want to show you some of the healthy meal prep that I do at home. So I always buy the bulk pack in the meat, and I divvy it up into single serves. In Australia, we call these pensioner packs. So the first meal that I'm going to make is sweet and sour chicken, and I'm going to make a few side dishes to go with it, but I'm only going to cook once, and it should serve me well for the next 3 days. I'm marinating my chicken in some shio-koji, which is a fermented mixture of malted rice, salt, and water. I used to buy a lot of my sauces, but now I can make them from scratch. Everything here is pretty standard. It's usually just soy sauce, sake, sugar, and in this case, I'm adding in some vinegar. And I'm using 3 different types of vinegar, actually. Normal rice vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and a bit of balsamic. I really use the internet to my advantage. So you can just put in like what ingredients in season and ask for recipe suggestions. And because I'm in Japan, I just ask for Japanese recipe suggestions because it's pretty easy to get all the ingredients that I need here. And you can find all of the different recipes for whatever's in season. So it really is cost effective to cook this way. When I was in Australia, as life got busier and busier, I really just went off cooking altogether and I just found no joy in the process of cooking food. And it probably led me to making some unhealthy choices with the food that I was eating. But since I've been here, I've started to really get passionate again about recipes and cooking and really focusing on making sure that I'm using the fresh ingredients. It really does save you so much money as well, especially when you've got fresh and affordable ingredients. Sometimes I feel like Japan makes frugal living just feel doable. In some ways, I think the culture supports minimalism, and there's also no shame in being careful with your money. In fact, I think it's really respected here. So one of the things that has been super important for me is knowing exactly where my finances stand. And it's a little bit of a chore, but I have started the Japanese kakebo system, which is a system of writing down every single expense. Now, I have actually made a whole sheet template and I wanted to share it with you today. It's 100% free. It's just something I want to give out to anyone that's interested. You're more than welcome to download it and use it however you like. The point of it being is that it's super simple, it's not complicated, and you can print it out or use it on your iPad, which is what I'm doing. And all you do each month is write down what your income is, what your expenses are, and what's left. And it just forces you to look at what you've got. It's on my website, www.cheneyjapan.com. And if you go up to the top menu, you can see there's a tab called Links. And under that tab, there's the Life is Journey shirts, which are awesome, is the free download. So all you have to do is click on Learn More, and then it will take you to another page which will go through in detail what the planner is about, how to use it, put your email address in if you're comfortable, and then click Download Now. This isn't meant to be a blueprint for everyone, it's just a reflection on what's helped me. We're all navigating different challenges, but we can still share what's working and support each other where we can. Let me know in the comments if you have any great budgeting tips. I look forward to talking to you again next week. See you later. Bye.